Peace, y'all. It's your man, Paulie Rhyme. And I know it's been a little bit of a break between episodes, but this time I had a lot to talk about. So I wanted to dive back in to the Paulie Rhyme podcast and do some updates and do some discussion points. I think for this episode, I'm going to do it all at once. And so I will break it up as far as the segments, but we're going to try and see if one long segment or one long podcast works. And so I've done the last 4 parts, and which will be 12 episodes. I've done in 3 parts. And so I think this is a good chance on episode 13 for us to see, change it up a little bit. So I'm going to go through 3 sections of being a parent, an artist, and an educator, not in that order, and see how people respond to it and how people are able to digest it the way it is. And since we're early on in the podcast, I think it's a good time to try things. And so, yeah, we're going to give it a shot. And so it is summertime in Japan. If you don't know, or this is your first time tuning in, my name is Paul Richardson. My stage name is Paulie Rhyme. And I live in Handa, which is a smaller city outside of Nagoya in Aichi, Japan. It's basically central, like right in the middle, in between, Tokyo, Osaka. There's Nagoya. And it's the 4th largest city. It feels like more like my hometown, which is Cleveland, Ohio, if you've ever been to the States. So like Cleveland, Minnesota, Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, something like that. Really a cool place, cool people, very industrial in terms of businesses. Toyota's not so far away too. So it has that feeling. So if you can equate, any industrial place where you are, then that's basically what Aichi is like. Really big into sports, huge sports community. Lots of sports players come from here too. And lots of high schools are known for sports in Aichi. I would say that this place is a little less touristy, more for people who either have lived in Japan for a long time or have planted roots in Japan. So it has just really a different feel, and I'm having a different experience, I would say, than people that I know in Osaka or Kyoto or Tokyo. And so I have been here for about 9 years. And before I lived in Japan, I lived in the Bay Area. So I lived in San Mateo and Daly City collectively for about 11 years, where I became a teacher. And obviously before that, my hometown's Cleveland. And so, yeah, we're going to dive into what I have going on as far as being an artist. There's a lot to unpack. So hopefully we can get it done in 45 minutes. Or less. We'll see how we go. But the first segment is going to be about what I have going on as an artist. I have some new things in terms of gigs and in terms of my band and running a band. So I want to talk about that. And then we'll get into an educator segment where we talk about this trip that we're going on in the summer. So we do summer camps at our school, which is CIS English in Handa. So me and my wife run an English school / international school, and you can check out previous episodes where I talk about the ideal of international school versus English school. So yeah, this is summer camp time. Today is actually the last day of school for my daughter, so she'll be coming home soon too. So I'm sure she'll be popping in and or not, depending on how she feels. So yeah, summer camp. We have 3 summer camps this time, so we'll talk about that. And then the parent segment is just, like I said, it's my daughter's last day of school. So finishing up for the summer, she goes to Narawa Middle School. And so that school is finishing up this year, but also she homeschools. So if you saw some of my previous episodes on homeschooling, and she finished on the 4th. So I want to talk really about that, some reflections on what I think. We are currently in Greenways Academy, which is based in Missouri. we do homeschool 3 days a week, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, let's jump into it. So the first segment, like I said, is going to be about me being an artist. And so I've been an artist for about 25 years. And I have been performing as a solo artist as well as running a band. And so in the States, I had 3 bands: Finless Brown, Miles Outside, and Soul Organics. And then in Japan, I have a band called PRQ, which is the Paulie Rhyme Quartet, sometimes quintet. It just depends on if we have a horn player or not. Shouts out to the band. And we have a show coming up at Valentine Drive, which is more like a jazz club. There's lots of jazz venues or live house, but it's set up like grand piano, the whole nine, but we don't use a grand piano. I'm not sure if we'll do that, but I got to talk to Amane about that. So we are 4-piece, and then we have our background singers. They're not really, but Maya and my wife also sing, because me and my wife have a lot of songs together, because she's also a performer and we were in bands together. And so I have taken on the band leader part of this. So yeah, we're going to be playing Valentine Drive, which is pretty cool because it's going to be a show that I get to play with some new artists and a mix. So Clica is a new group. Chrissy Diggs and Kurt are some homies of mine. Chrissy is an amazing artist. You should check her out. But she's also singing with Kurt, and he plays a couple instruments. So they have a trio with a drummer, and I think Kurt's playing bass and keys. So we'll play with them. And then CQ is Shishido's group with Curie. So it's a duo, female rap duo, hip hop duo. Really dope. I've done a bunch of things with them when I would organize, whether organizing shows or playing shows together. And also me and Shishido have a song on my last project, Higher, called Duck Hunt or Dunk Hunt together. So yeah, this show. And then my homie OK, DJ OK, is a homie from Nagoya. Really cool homie. We go and dig a lot. We actually just dug a couple weeks, and it's going to be his birthday, so he's going to DJ. So I'm really excited about this show. I'll put some more details. I'm going to start promoting that show shortly. I'm finding that normally bigger shows, they promote months in advance, but for some of these local shows, it's better to do it in about 6 weeks. So we will get on the promotion of that shortly, probably when I get back from the States. But I'm going to, actually, OK has a party where he's DJing, so I'm going to make up some pre-flyers and go pass those out. But before that, in August, I am organizing a DJ gig. So in Japan, I do a lot more DJing, and my history of DJing is I started DJing in college, really with like tapes and CDs. I was just like the DJ for some of the college parties and organizing parties way back when. And then I started DJing with the homie Dave Stewart a little bit more. And then I started DJing with Gordo, who is the founder of Motown on Mondays, and Fleck. And I've DJed, that was in the Bay Area, so Cleveland a little bit, Bay Area more. And then when I came out here, I met and connected with the Stub DJs, who I'm down with right now. We do a lot of DJing in Handa at Sake Bar Yamikudo, which is a cool spot, local spot that we do a lot of stuff at, as well as Little People. And then from there, I just started DJing in Nagoya more. And now I'm organizing an event, a DJ event. So on this DJ event, we got Ellie, who is a super dope DJ. We perform together as a duo sometimes. She's really into jazzy hip hop and also rock. She DJs some rock shows too, so she's pretty dope. My man Soul Man, he's really into Showa Pop. So if you're not sure what Showa Pop, you should check that out, because Showa Pop is really dope. It's like, I know there's a big city pop movement, and I'm even, into that. And then the homie Peck, and Peck is someone that I met through Shishido and her crew that do the Yakuzin Bar, which is a local bar in Nagoya, kind of a smaller spot, but they do a under 130 BPM party, because a lot of times they're spinning like house or Tanzanian music, or just really up-tempo techno, stuff like that. And so they wanted to make a party that was not that. And so it's pretty cool. So I've done it twice, and really all mix open format kind of party. And so just being inspired by that, as well as just being inspired by some of the other things I've been doing, I wanted to do a party that was kind of for, not necessarily just for older people, but people my age, and more of a dance party. And I really like to, so this party is called Plastic Lovers. It's just an up-tempo party. So over 100 is really what I'm looking at as far as a theme. So any kind of music over 100, we just gonna jam, get down. And so I'm happy to do that. And that's coming up. So that's like first coming up, and then the PRQ show and Valentine Drive. Then I'm starting a new band project. So like I mentioned before, I was in 3 other bands. In those bands, there was various setups, but what I found with my current band, we do a lot of my solo music, as well as we do some of the band music that is more keyboard based, because that band has a PRQ, it more has a keyboard player. So it has more of a jazzy hip hop vibe. It's super dope. I love it. Lots of music that I do has that vibe. More jazz, jazzy hip hop, or like a Japanese hip hop style. From, when you think of like Noon Jabez or No Mac or Reed Plus or, Dilla, stuff like that. So it has that vibe. But I do have a lot of other music that has more of a harder edge rock vibe with guitars. And so as I was thinking, and also Itoko Moto has music that she's done as a solo artist. And so we always have this kind of thing where we're trying to fit things. And so at this point in my life, I don't think I need to fit things. So I'm organizing the bands. I'm making sure the bands get what they need. I practice all this. So I just felt like maybe I should try 2 separate projects. And so we're going to try this. So coming up in for Halloween, or around Halloween time in October, we're going to call this band Next Caper. So Next Caper was an album by Phyllis Brown that we put out that was super dope, that I really loved. And I like the vibe of that album. And I feel like it's more kind of trip hop, hip hop, maybe more like trip hop. And I don't know if a lot of people are into trip hop in Japan, which I'm assuming people are. Sorry for that shake. It just was like, boom, I hit the thing. But we're going to try it. So this band's going to be called Next Caper. So the homie Takemoto from Handa, no, say Hiram, from Handa is a drummer. He actually was Maya's drum teacher. My other homie, Yonosuke, that I met in some open mics that I've been to. And then my bass player from PRQ still is going to down, because bass players, we could have a whole segment on bass players, but once you find a good one. Although I know a couple other bass players, so we gonna see how it goes. But the homie could do it. So for this new project, it's gonna be guitar based, of hip hop, trip hop kind of music, have more of an edge. And so yeah, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna try. We're gonna see how it goes. So now I'm about to have 2 bands, which is crazy, because I didn't even have a band when I moved here, but now we got 2 bands. So PRQ is going to be the more jazz, jazzy hip hop version of what we do. And then Next Caper is going to be the more trip hop, rock version of what we do. So it should be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I have to really, also there's a lot of rock and like VK and like punk and things like that in Nagoya. So I think it's a good way for us to get in some different venues, and we'll just see how it goes. We'll try it. At this point, I'm really interested in seeing how far it goes. Also, I want to just get that other music out, because I still promote all my music, which is something you should do. Never stop promoting your music, however old it is. Just keep going with it. People always new. It's always new to someone. And I found a lot of success and a lot of boost, especially online, with the music. So you should do that. The last thing we have going on is we have some artist tours coming to Japan. So the homie Blueprint from Ohio is coming. So we're going to help put that together. So I will get more probably into that next episode, but just to like put that out there. So shout out to Blueprint, shout out to Deep Thinker, my homie Tone. We're trying to put a couple days together for him in November. And then Punk Black is coming, which is not two bands, but it's a website and a record label and a huge Instagram page. They do a lot of content over there, Punk Black. So shout out to them. So Being Human and Howling Star are coming. They came last year, but they didn't get a chance to come to Nagoya. So right now I'm just trying to connect them with bands that are, I don't really do punk. Like I said, we got the Next Caper thing. So if maybe we'll do that, but yeah, I'm trying to basically connect them with the homies that I know, which is a few. And then if that doesn't work, I'm going to connect them with some venues just so that they can have some shows. So in November's going to be busy. And actually, yeah, we'll have that show in August. We'll have a show in September. I'm trying to spread it out. And then a show in October. And then those two tours in November. So yeah, so that's pretty much it on the artist tip. Some of this stuff I'm going to revisit in the next episode. So we come back in August, I will talk to people more about like what we got going on and expand on those shows. Hopefully have some music for you guys. But I'll put some links in the bottom about the shows and about the places. And if I forget, please remind me. Okay, and so the second segment of this is from an educator standpoint. And so as educator, like I said, we have a school, CIS English. Used to be Chubu International still, but we have moved more into CIS English because that is primarily what we do. We also do some translation. We do online lessons. We have our advanced classes. So we have what we call American School, a 2-hour advanced class. And because of our class and the growing of this class, because we get a lot of students from preschools, English preschools. So in Aichi, in our area, we have a lot of English preschools, but they have really nowhere to go after, or the places they have to go are a little bit pricey. Some people can't afford, some people need other options. So we have been an alternative for that. So we have 3 American School classes. We have a STEAM class on Tuesdays. We have a reading, writing class on Mondays. And then Wednesdays and Saturdays, we do a grammar and vocabulary class. And so maybe one day I will talk about why I've broken up American School, but the gist of it is I tried to do it all at once. And it's really to help the kids assimilate, give them more of a subject-based English experience versus just kind of pony tricks is like what I call it, like performance English that comes with Aichi. So I wanted to give them more of a real experience being a teacher from the States, having the experience in international schools, what have you. And so we created this alternative, but it was just too much to do in one class. So we made 3 classes. And so it's been really great, really successful. I think the kids like it. The kids are a little less stressed. They're able to come to more than one class, which the parents like. So it's been good. This year we tried that and it's been very successful. So because we do have advanced students, we wanted to offer this trip, which we wanted to offer when we first started, but I think we're in a better place to offer it. So we have 4 students that we're taking to Ohio, hometown, Cleveland, right? Bam. We're going to Cleveland State, going to Hiram College, going to Kent State, going to Cleveland Institute of Art, also going to Niagara Falls. We're going to Bedford, I think now, because the homie that I was in college with and also coaching football, he's now the AD, which is the athletic director over there. So shouts out to JC. Shouts out to my cousin. Shouts out to my friend from high school, Matt. My cousin Talia. Everybody came together and we doing a barbecue. So shouts out to the family for hooking that up and setting that up. It's really going to be a cool trip. Oh, we're going to a baseball game. Shouts out to the Guardians. That's what they're called, people. The Guardians, okay? We're going to a Guardians baseball game, okay? So, yeah, so it's going to be cool. And I feel like it's a good move for our school, for our business, for the kids. And hopefully we can do this every year. So we're looking forward to touching down in Cleveland. And we're going from July 23rd to August 3rd, so 10 days. It'll be interesting flying to Canada, then flying to the States. We have all these ETAs and ESTAs and kids. We rented a house, so that should be pretty dope. So I definitely, probably maybe from the house, I don't know, maybe after, I'll come back and I'll reflect on that trip, give you the skinny on that. And so, yeah, we have that as our summer camp abroad. Also, we have 2 summer camps. We usually have 2 summer camps in Handa. And so we do a kindy camp, elementary camp, and it's 2 weeks. So we have 2 classes because we have grown to that level. And Itoko typically takes the kindy kids, and then I take the elementary kids, and we are almost sold out. So shouts out to the community because that is crazy. It's not even August yet, and we sold that out. But we have a strong community. Our kids and families, the amount is growing. Our community is growing, so I'm really happy about that. And I'm still working out the details of that. But I have a good schedule. I just need to think about the themes. And so I'm working on that. And then we just started a new partnership with WeWork, which is a company, I think they are based in Tokyo, but they are moving into Aichi. And they work with a lot of companies to provide services. We have not done so well with our adult business. And so we are really trying to make a push to get more adult students because I like adults. The adult teaching is a little bit different. We can get more, kind of like our advanced students, it's just a little bit more challenging, and we can offer more for those students, and we feel like we can do that well, but we just haven't had a chance for whatever reason in the promotions that we've done. So working with this company and having a new partnership, I think is great for a growing business. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. So I will probably talk more about that as that comes along. It just happened like last week or so. And we will be moving. So stay tuned for that. I think eventually we will, because we need more space. Our space currently is great, but it's small. And as we want to improve our staff or increase our staff, as we want to have more kids, we want to have bigger camps, because right now our camp, we can have about, 20 people, 15 people. We want to double that. Hopefully next year. So we need a bigger space. So we're looking for that. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, so I think from an educator standpoint, things are going well. And I feel like maybe that one is kind of short this time because we do have that big trip. So organizing the trip has been interesting, and thinking about what to do with the kids, making it age appropriate, because we have mostly middle school kids and we have one 6th grader, so he's almost in middle school. So that has been very interesting. But if people have questions about that, I will come back and talk about that next time. So yeah, and we are trying to plan a trip for people to come here, kids, middle school and or high school. So stay tuned for that too, because we're planning that and we're going to roll that out in September for next summer. And so that one thing that we did, and one thing I think about, is we're doing this trip in July, whereas next year we'll probably do this trip toward the end of August, because it seems like in the States, and that's where you have to line up the schedules, and this is a trial by fire. I think we'll do that trip end of August. So that allows us to do a trip from the US to Japan in maybe late June, early July. From what I have seen and talking to people, and you can let me know in the comments, kids are getting out mid-June. So an end of June trip or first week of July trip seems like it's feasible to come to Japan. And this is really part of our long-term vision. And as I think an English school or international leaning school, we are thinking of how we can make our program more international, how we can provide more opportunities for our students to have an international experience. And that is going abroad, but also bringing students here, and they can connect with each other, they can make friends, and we can show students from other countries that Japan is a viable place. Japan is a cool place beyond just the basics, right? So when people come to Handa, like I just had a friend come to Handa, shouts out to the Swans, Island and Zach. They just came with their kids and it was really cool. And they're like, man, it's really cool. We wish we would have spent more time here. And I always feel like I'm having this conversation with people. And I feel like maybe if more kids or more opportunities for kids are provided to come to Aichi in particular, then more people will think about it when they come to Japan, because it's a unique place. I mean, it's a cool place. I think people make it's easy. It feels like you could just jump right in and do things. And that's probably not the same in other places in Japan. And you feel maybe more relaxed in Aichi. And obviously we're here, so people feel like, oh, I know someone, we can go do things. I don't have to think about it. Oh, I want to eat this. I want to do this. I want to see this. Bam, it's there. Oh, wow, this is here. You know, Ghibli Museum is here. I want to eat unagi. I want to try different types of ramen. I want, you can have all of that in Aichi. And I think because of the way that Japan has previously advertised, and shouts out to those people, and the whole Cool Japan thing, they have pushed people to go to Tokyo and push people to go to Kyoto, push people to go to Osaka. Well, Japan is a big place, right? It's huge. It's like, what, the fourth or fifth largest economy. It's bigger than California. People don't really get how big Japan is. So I think it's up to people who live here and people who are able to provide opportunities to say, hey, this is available. Now, will it work? I don't know. We will see. But I think it's good for us to, as a school and as a small business in Aichi and Handa, to try to bring people here. So we are going to attempt to do that for next year. And yeah, we'll keep you guys abreast. We'll stay tuned to that. Or you stay tuned to that. And so the third part of this episode is the parent segment. And now, so if you don't know, I have a 14-year-old daughter. Her name is Maya. You see like a baby picture right there, but now she is a teenager. And she went to Nagane, which is the preschool, and she went to CDS in California prior to that. When we moved here, she went to Nagane because we wanted her to go with her cousins. It wasn't like the greatest experience. And we had heard that in Japan, they were working more toward the English and getting English better because that's what they chose to do. Not like anybody was forcing them. English is the business language, is a very popular language in the world. Japan wants to move their kids and prepare their kids to be international. So they went all in on English. They kind of went all in. So we discussed this to a certain degree. We had low expectations in preschool, but then we got to hold on, sorry about that. We got to elementary school. They said, oh, we're going to do computers and we're going to do this English. She's going to have an English teacher. And where she did have Martin Sensei in Nagane, and he did his best, but he had a lot of kids. So we found the same kind of thing, like, oh, it's going to happen next year. Oh, it's going to be this. And finally, by the time sixth grade rolled around, and Maya's always wanted to go back to the States, and that was her dream from when we got here, and she's been steadfast about that. So we wanted to provide opportunities for her to do that. In order to do that, her English needs to be at a certain level. So we are different, mixed family. Mom has a degree from the States, getting her master's in education or foreign studies. I have education degrees. Maya wants to be a teacher / singer. She wants to go back to California. So we have a different situation, but we wanted it to be as close as possible. So we decided to homeschool. It looks like I might need to pause for the calls. Okay, so we're going to edit this. I got to about 30 minutes, which is pretty cool. But I'm going to tag on the second section. So we're going to continue with this. So stay tuned. All right, peace, y'all. So you'll see on the video now, I am at CIS because it's the parent segment. And so when I was recording the first part of the parent segment, Maya had called because she was coming from school. Today is her last day, and she packed all her stuff, and she couldn't carry it. So our school was right across the street from her middle school. And so then I decided to pick her up, and then I had to pick Itoko up, and then we had lunch, and then we came back. So that's just a real situation that happens when you live in the neighborhood, which is probably actually one of the best parts about living in Handa, is that our house is close to the school. And speaking about CIS, whoa, we failed. I don't know what happened. And our school is close to the house. We can walk there, and then the school is across the street from Narawa. So in that case, I was able to pick her up. Now, this is something as a parent that you have to deal with, I think. So I'm just going to put this in the podcast, trying to get the kids to, organize and make sure that they are ready for the end of the year. And so the teacher, we just had a parent-teacher conference. Just pulling up my notes right now. We just had a parent-teacher conference, and the teacher was saying how she should bring her stuff home. And she decided that she wasn't going to bring all her stuff home. So then we had this issue. Now, it's super hot, so probably in a different situation, I would have told her to just walk home. But there's lots of heat stroke. There's lots of things going on. And plus, I was at home. So I just decided to pick her up. It's the last day of middle school. They actually have been getting out of school for the last 2 weeks. It's been half days, which is another issue, because if you are working full-time or you are not in your home city, like say you work outside of the city and your kid is going to school for the last 2 weeks of school, then you have to think about how or what you're going to do when they get home at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So luckily for us, we both work at our school. Our school's across the street, so she's able to come here after school. But then sometimes she also has swim club. And so then she goes home, but we are working. So then that was also something that we had to think about her being like a latchkey kid, right? If you are familiar with that term, and going home, making sure she checks in, which was a challenge to make sure we know she's home, because she's after swimming is like 2 hours. You have to take a shower. Then she has summer homework that we want her to do before we go to the United States, and not just be on her phone or be on TV primarily the whole time. And so today is the last day again. So she's at school with us so she can do her summer homework. And then, so we were running around. So that's why this part of the segment is after, some hours after, but for you, it's right away. So, but just to give you the real scoop, one that you may need to plan if you are in Japan and your kid goes to school at a public school, which most kids go to public school. They don't set it up for people to work full time or for both parents to work full time. It's still kind of archaic that way. And so two, if you are working and both parents are working, which a lot of parents are, what happens to your kid in the afternoon? Where do they go? Are they prepared to stay home by themselves for possibly 6 hours or longer? So, that's something that people should think about. And then in terms of homeschool, is what I wanted to talk about. We finished, and that went pretty well. There were a couple of times I think overall she did really well in math. She did okay in history. She did well in science. And then the English class, she passed, but she could have did better. She didn't finish the whole thing. And so we have to think about for next year, because this year she took 4 classes. Next year, she's taking 6 classes. So we have to think about how we are going to organize her room, her schedule, those classes, because she will have 2 additional classes because she will actually be in high school. And so if you aren't familiar with the way that school works, you'll hear her in the background probably, but you are not aware of how school works over here is they go to 3 years of junior high. So basically 7th, 8th, 9th is junior high. But in the United States, it's 4 years of high school, 2 years of middle school, or 4 years of middle school if you're starting in 5th. So usually 5th to 8th or 7th, 8th. So next year, which starts in September for her high school in the States, homeschool, but still middle of 2nd year for Japanese school, we have to rethink how we are organizing ourselves, how many days she goes a week for, and how much time she's going to spend on her English school. Now, fast forward to April when she starts her 3rd year or 9th grade year in Japanese school. She'll be almost at the end of her first high school year. And then it will be busy, really busy for her. So we have to think about April, May, June. She's becoming a 3rd year student, but also she's ending her 1st year of high school. And if you know about high school, everything counts. So we can't really afford for her to go behind or drop down in her grades, which she's been doing pretty well, mostly B's. This time she got a C, I think. So she's capable of doing it, but time is her enemy. She needs the time. So we have to make sure that we plan for the time for her to study her homeschool as well as keep up with her studies. And before, it was a combined dual program. So because she was in Japanese school, the PE, music, those things were supplemented with her Japanese school. And so she only had to take 4 core classes to go through her middle school and get the transcripts and credit for that. So she has the 2 together. But now she has to take 6 classes for 4 years, or 6 classes, 4 years, 24 credits. And then that's a full program. So it's interesting in that way. And we'll have to see what we're doing. And as far as like getting ready, there are 2 things that we are doing. The first one is we're going to do some summer reading. And so Greenways Academy doesn't give her any summer reading that I know of. We're going to sign up for that class probably, or those classes next month. So we'll get more information, but I know just from being in school and also just from doing some research that there is summer reading. So we have decided to read the biography by Trevor Noah. And I'm going to read it with her. Maybe Itoko will read it. And then she has to pick one more book. And so July, read that first book. August, read the second book. I think it will take probably 3 weeks for each book. So just really encouraging her more to read. I think if anything I have to say for people is to make sure wherever you start the process, elementary, junior high, high school, make sure that the kid is reading in English. And I don't just mean like when you start, the books are not chapter books, but books are board books or picture books. But at a certain level, probably 3rd grade, they need to really start reading chapter books. And then once they get to 5th, 6th grade, depending on how well they're reading, try to get into novels, just really building up their stamina to get ready for high school. Because in high school, they're reading Shakespeare probably, they're reading the Iliad, they're reading all these different books. And not only are they reading those books that they are in the canon, they're reading more modern books, and then they're probably reading Percy Jackson or some mythology. So the language is on a different level. And fortunately, Maya is really into math, into science, so her vocabulary is pretty large, and we play a lot of Scrabble, which I would suggest bananagrams or Scrabble is a good or 2 good games to play. And then she's really into chess. So there's like the strategy piece that she likes. So she likes a challenge. She likes to think about things in multiple steps, think ahead. And so building those skills as well as study skills and organizational skills are really important when you are thinking about your kid going to homeschool, English homeschool, and even if they're taking an advanced English class, because they're going to be juggling their Japanese with their English, and then as English, and in a lot of cases, the English is here, the Japanese is here, but for her, we're trying to keep them at the same level. And so she has, more work ahead of her, and we have to support her and plan for her to be successful in high school, because the GPA matters. If she's going to take the PSAT, then take the SAT or ACT, depending on what school she's going to. And then once she goes homeschool full-time, she will take on some other activities, like continue her swimming, maybe go to swim club. She's playing guitar, so maybe take guitar lessons. So she still will need to be able to juggle her responsibilities. And then she's going to take honors classes or AP classes, college prep. There's a lot that goes into high school. So we are trying to start with the reading, or we started with the homeschool and, continue with the reading to help her feel good and confident and execute for high school. So that's pretty much it. So when you check this out, let me know if just the one straight through 45 minutes or 40 minutes or so, I don't know how long this is because I'm putting the 2 parts together, but let me know if you prefer kind of 1 episode, or you were really digging the 3 episodes, the 1 episode broken into 3 parts. This will still be broken into 3 parts. I'll put the timestamps on it so you can just kind of speed ahead. But I am thinking about, with this episode and going forward, just doing a full episode of about 40 to 45 minutes, going over the 3 topics. That way people can just find time, listen to it while you're driving, while you're working, and it just goes straight through. And so, like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you share this with anybody you think that would be interested in our experiences in Japan and my experiences as an artist, an educator, and a parent. Anyone who is interested in homeschooling, especially if they are in Japan or they're in a different country, but they're American, or looking to do an English program. Like I said, Greenways Academy is the one that we work with, and we're pretty happy with that so far. But there are lots of other programs out there for people. And some of what we do, I think, is relative to people who are just studying. Maybe they're not doing homeschool. Maybe you don't want your kid to do homeschool, but you want to just keep up with their studies of English at home, and you're able to take that on. So, let us know what you think. This is the Paulie Podcast, episode 13. Peace.